Morning, everybody. I'm Chris Rupert from Falling Edge. And since everybody's on lockdown quarantine here because of the COVID-19 scare, I thought I'd release this video, keep everybody updated on what we've been up to and what we're doing, and just to talk a bit about the process of how some of these songs get written. For those of you who've been following our webpage blog, you will have read maybe a month or so ago more now that we've completed a fairly epic adventure here in songwriting, and that is the song Final Dissent, which is going to be some 27 or 28 minutes long when it's completed. Needless to say, taking on a project of that magnitude was a lot of work, a lot of stuff to try and keep straight. And Rob and I haven't really gotten together to talk too much about what's going to happen with the drums, as you know, we're sort of on lockdown here, so we can't really do too much. We need to really get together in the studio, be in the same room, hammer some stuff out, and bounce some ideas off of each other. So I'm not sure when that's going to happen. We're on sort of self-isolation protocol here in Canada for at least the next week, maybe longer. But anyway, if we can squeeze in some time there. While everybody's on quarantine, it's a good time to get some recording done. Unfortunately, we can't record because we're not supposed to be making any unnecessary social contact. But anyway, that aside, I thought I'd talk a little bit about this song, Final Dissent, and just kind of how some of the things came to be. Probably, I guess something important here is I had no intention of dropping a 27-minute long bomb on people. I had no idea that this song was going to last as long as it did or go on as long as it did. It's just that it had different parts. When I started adding things together, it seemed like a bigger story could unfold, both musically and lyrically. And that this is, why not, right? It's prog, it's a CD. We don't really have any time constraints anymore. And as I said, things just kind of kept adding on. And as it got to say, 18 minutes long. And I'd listen to it and think, well, now it still doesn't quite seem done. It seems like there needs to be more stuff here, more stuff there. So that's sort of how the whole thing became unraveled and ended up being so long. But the whole song started with this opening riff, which is kind of a brief. I'll play the sort of a shorter version of it for you here. But it's maybe a couple minutes long in the full song. And this is what started the whole song going. Keyboard riff that I'd written a lot of years ago. It's a fairly old thing that I had recently rediscovered I always have old cassette tapes and CDs and now stuff on my computer that just sort of a musical scratch pad, different ideas of things that I could use in songs later on. So the part that was written several years ago was just that intro, that before the bass part came in. Probably originally, in fact, I'm sure originally that bass part wasn't there. It just went right from here to here. But then it seemed like the one part led into the other two abruptly. I thought that'd be a great spot for Rod to do some really cool stuff on drums there, with that little bass part. So that's sort of glued those two parts together. Now, what I want to talk about mostly here is this. No, this. So as I was writing the song and as I added more parts, that bugged me. The keyboard part is really quite clever. You can hear it more so in the piano version. The original, when I was originally writing it, the piano version had really nice voice leading. I'll play it again. Yeah, you can hear it better in the piano, but I didn't dislike it. It just didn't seem, done or right there. It seemed like coming out of here. This is exciting and upbeat, and then this bass, and there were going to be some cool drums here, and this is going to be really cool, and then it just seemed like there needed to be more stuff. So, You want to make something exciting, what do? Well, you put more guitar in it, damn it. So here's the version of it here's how I tried to expand on that, make it more exciting as it came out of the intro. Same thing, bass, there'd be some drums there. Rob would put something good in there. Sounds pretty good, but now I'm listening to it and think, well, that's kind of a mouthful. There's a lot of stuff going on there. Plus, that's where the vocals would start, right? Lyrics would be put in there, and vocals would be in there. And I had I'd heard sort of the idea of having like some harmonies things in there as well. So anyway, day after day went on, and I kept writing different things and adding more things, but it always bugged me. I would oftentimes I'd sit down in the morning, listen to it, and go, I don't know, it's just not quite what it should be there. And then I'd, try and write some other stuff, and it would seem like, nah, it's okay. And so I'd add more things farther down into the song. I'm 15 minutes into the song, and this part's still gnawing at me that it's not quite right. So I started messing around with some other ideas, and the way the demo worked, it was actually a lot of work to redo the first part, and I don't think I let that interfere with my decision as to whether or not to change it. But it definitely was like, oh no, I'm going to have to redo a lot of stuff, just mechanically, technically, in the recording program to get everything all lined up and in sync and everything. So anyway, I did it. I came up with a good part. I recorded a separate section, then I added it into the new part, and this is what it sounds like now, or this is what it sounded like at that point. So the same intro. So, whoops, a lot of different stuff going on there. The big thing was this. This was the smile point. Nope, this was. When I had that guitar part, when I came up with that guitar part as the bridge to be played during the bass that led into this, all bets were off. Now I was thrilled with the way it sounded. And every morning I'd come down and listen to it again and think about what I was going to add into the next later on in the song. I'd listen to that and go, damn, that sounds cool. So I knew at that point that was where that needed to be. Notice here I dropped the keyboards altogether, so it was a little painful for me because I really did like that voice leading. But when you have something that you like, you don't just throw it in the garbage. You use it later. So here's the second verse. Cool riff again. And there's our keyboard part with the neat voice leading. And some nice counter melody work there in the strings. Now, as I said, the intro to that first keyboard part that I wrote several years ago is just a couple minutes long. It's longer than that intro, then there's longer verses and stuff. But so here's where we're at with it now. Again, no drums or anything yet because Rob and I haven't gotten together to talk about it. But you'll notice in the intro now I've added more guitar and the vocals come in the verse where they're supposed to. Okay, so you hear now with the vocals and stuff in there. As I mentioned earlier, I wanted to get some harmony vocals. Decided not to do it in the very first part of the verse. Decided to wait until, I guess, the second half of the first verse before that comes in. I should have forewarned you. Forgive the slightly out of tune vocals and bad mix on that. This is just a demo, right? So this is just the vocals. Often when I record these demos are placeholders, so I can hear how the rhythmic flow of the lyric is going to work with the rhythmic flow of the music, and also so that Rob knows where the words are, where I'm singing, so he's not tromping all over top of the vocal. So yeah, if you're wondering what's going on there, that's why, because it's not a perfect recording. It's certainly not a final recording yet. But you sort of see the process, right? You see how, and not everything goes that way. Not everything is weeks long of trying to figure out what to do with this thing that you're not quite happy with. A lot of it's like, oh, that sounds great right out of the can, and you don't have to mess around with it too much. But that part, as I say, it gnawed on me. Weeks it gnawed on me, and I would think about it all the time and think there's got to be something better that I could do. And every time, I guess the problem was every time I thought of doing something better, it was at the expense of that keyboard part that I really liked, and I didn't want to get rid of it. It just didn't seem like that was the right place for it. So I finally did find the right place for it, I think, and I hope you agree on that. And it's a big takeaway here. Don't settle. Don't think, that's good enough, and that's going to be, all that can be. Like, I'm really glad that I didn't. And if there was a long time when I was, like I said, there was weeks there when I was gone. That's probably, I think we should just keep that there. That's good enough, But as I said, it kept bugging me, and the fact that it was bugging me was my inner voice, or the spirit, whatever, telling me that it ain't good enough. There needs to be something better done there. And as I said, I'm glad it took a long time. Like, that whole adding that new part in there and getting everything straightened out was at least a week of work trying to get that all together. But what do you care? You just want to hear the final product, and you want it to be good. So anyway, that's it for this little exposition of what happens in the songwriting process. And for you who are interested, please, head over to the Falling Edge Music webpage, www.fallingedgemusic.com, and take a listen to some stuff there. We have CDs, obviously, that you can buy, downloads that you can buy as well. And I encourage everybody to do that. If you're liking the music, please support us. That's really our only income, and it's the only way we can kind of keep things going. So, feel free to support us by buying some music there. Also, go and check out we always kind of update it every now and then when we're doing some recording with some photos and stuff. And I try to keep a fairly regular, running conversation going on over there on the blog section of the web page, where you can hear what we're doing and where we're headed to next. As I said, unfortunately, because of the restrictions on movement here in Canada to try and limit the impact of the coronavirus, I was thinking last week this is going to be a great time to do some recording because everybody's on lockdown, except everybody's on lockdown. So, I probably shouldn't be, holding up in the studio with Rob when we're supposed to be trying to prevent, transmission of this disease. So, hopefully in the next week or two, though, we should be able to get together. Things will hopefully settle down. Hopefully not only in Canada, but worldwide, this virus thing will kind of be gotten under control. But so until I release another video, stay healthy, stay safe, and enjoy the music.